Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So I'm a big fan of Peter Schiff. It's where I get my opening theme from. I've been watching him since 2008, and when I first started watching him, I commented on how his opening theme sounds a lot like the Peter Shit Show, and he talks a lot of shit about the economy. I don't think that's a coincidence because he could have called his show a number of things, but he chose the Peter Schiff Show, almost like he wants people to hear it as the Peter Shit Show. Now, Peter Shit talks about ways that our federal government manipulates data, especially inflation numbers, especially unemployment numbers, among other things. I want to talk about the manipulation of the unemployment numbers. Peter Shit often talks about how when people go from having one full-time job to multiple part-time jobs, that the government will count those as extra jobs being created. And yes, that is deceptive. But Peter will then go on to say that most people would rather have that one full time job. I actually disagree with that. I think by having multiple jobs, I've diversified a lot of risk. And I, the threat of losing any one of those jobs is a lot lower than if I had one job. A lot of people don't appreciate that. A lot of people don't appreciate that. The other benefit is the flip side of the coin of having less risk or diversifying my risk is that I can afford to take even more risk, right? So, for example, I teach at, I recently moved to Apache Junction. I teach at CAC at Apache Junction. I can afford to speak up for myself now. Just the other day, see, I'm new there. I'm given a classroom that doesn't even have good projectors. The whiteboard is really scratchy to write on. And I went up to the director and said, "Hey, is there a chance I could use this other classroom? I notice it's always empty when I get here, and I could afford to. If that were my only job, I might hesitate on doing that. Right? Telling your boss that your classroom is crap, right? You don't want to do that, right? And another thing is that the people that I work with, my management at both of the schools and with my art project, my customers know that I have all those other jobs. And there's a lot more respect that goes on. They realize they can't just kick me out to the street, right? And the dynamics really change a lot. I think Peter Shit doesn't really appreciate that. Now, of course, there's a lot of extra commuting and all that. Now, this morning, as I'm getting ready to get out the door, I realized I can't find my socks. I don't have a whole lot of extra clothing because sometimes I like to move around a bit. I'm still looking for the right partner in my life. If my roommates aren't the right people, I move, and there are times where I'm in between places, so I don't keep a lot of clothes on hand. And so sometimes my clothes disappear on me. I'm not in a rush or anything. I have time on my hands, right? And it's just a fun exercise. I get to clean up the bathroom while I'm looking for it, clean up my room a little bit. It was nice, right? Had I had one job to go to and I'm already late, that could have played out differently in terms of the mental health aspect of it, in terms of everything else, right? I love it. I love how having these multiple jobs. I get to play with each one, right? I get to mess with them, right? And Peter Shit doesn't seem to understand that dynamics. I wish he would talk a little bit about that sometimes, right? Look at all the layoffs that are going on in the tech industry. If those people were working part time at three different tech companies, although you probably can't do that because of non competes, if they were doing that, I think that the dynamics would change a lot, right? I'd love to see how that kind of world would play out. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.